I think we are good. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on today's podcast. I don't even know where to look. There's so many cameras, but on today's podcast, it's going to be a little bit of everything, but I think we're going to focus on Jeremy and microdosing. So hopefully we don't get canceled or we don't get shadow banned because it is a touchy subject. And I got my guy over here, man. We connected through TikTok. That's how I discovered my man's. He's always about bringing awareness, trying to help the world. And he specializes on the microdosing side of things because it opens your mind to a lot. And he's going to explain that. But Jeremy, man, kind of give yourself an introduction and take it from there, man.
Dog, I'm just happy and grateful that we're doing this.
Yeah,
Yes,
same.
yes.
Likewise.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
This is why I love this platform, bro.
VCon
Yes.
2022. We just finished the first super conference. We all got in with our NFTs.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was
It's
dope.
crazy, bro. Like, cause we really wasn't planning. Like, I didn't even know you were coming to VCon. There was a lot of creators that were there, and I'm like, wow, like this is insane.
Yeah.
How's it been for you so far, bro?
I mean, VCon?
Yes. The
VCon
whole
was
experience in
VCon was
general.
amazing. Definitely a little sleep deprived.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the new connections and just continuing to immerse in that Web3 space. I think there's so much possibility and opportunity. So I'm just excited to really see how I can use those new technologies to accelerate the impact I create in the world, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, like you mentioned, microdosing. We're talking about specifically psilocybin. So these are
Yeah.
magic mushrooms, the chemical compound that's in magic mushrooms. But you can really microdose with any substance. You can microdose chocolate.
Yeah.
You can microdose Doritos. Hopefully
Yeah.
you don't do that. But if you do, microdosing is probably better than macrodosing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah.
You said you need some sleep. You've been grinding. I'm assuming like you've been on one, connecting everywhere. We feel the same way. This whole experience, because this is our first time traveling with the whole equipment. We talked about it, and it kind of feels crazy, huh? If you think about it.
Yeah. And in that scenario, how has microdosing helped you in this, grinding, meeting, talking?
Yeah.
Just like some natural energy, right? Because that's what psilocybin is.
Yeah, well, let's take a step back because there's probably a lot of people right now who have no idea what microdosing is, what psilocybin is. So I think it's very important to create some sort of foundational framework.
Okay.
And we live in a country, the United States, where we've been programmed to think that drugs are things like mushrooms and weed, right? Things that have mostly been illegal through the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually take a step back and think about it, those things both come from nature. They're literally plants that have been used, fungi that have been used for thousands of years, if not hundreds of thousands of years, right? And then the things that we classify as medicines are different pills, different potions, Adderall, antidepressants.
Man-made.
Exactly. These are chemically laced pills that actually do nothing to help people discover the root cause of their illness. But unfortunately, similar to Web3, right? The reason why Web3 is gaining so much momentum is because it's challenging the way that we used to do things.
Okay.
The banks, the financial system, these white men in suits controlling everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now, all of a sudden, with blockchain technology, there's so much more possibility and opportunity to create financial freedom. And I see it the same way when microdosing and psychedelics, specifically mushrooms, is now we're creating the opportunity to be more free mentally, physically, emotionally, and no longer be a slave to this old system that no longer serves us.
Yeah.
So like question, so like I've used psychedelics before, and like I've to your point, like I think it's more discovery. It helps with more like discovery of what you think. Sometimes it'll be like questions of why do you do things? Do you do things for the right reason? Well, why? And I feel like that's what it did in my position. But like microdosing, does it replace like can it actually replace somebody on Adderall? Like if I had a friend on Adderall and I like, and some people are that I know really close that they take Adderall all the time. And I'm like, dude, that's so bad for you long term. Like could it help those folks, or is it geared more towards discovery?
Yeah, great question. So it's crazy because I've actually posted this clip multiple times on social media. One of my students, and maybe we can actually B-roll this in to your show. One of my guys, Marcos, 24 years old. He was in my first mastermind back in January 2022. Was literally snorting lines of Adderall every single day, suicidal. And he shares this story in this video. And within 6 weeks of tapping into microdosing, in addition to all of the other things we teach, right? Because something that's very important to notice and know is like, even just in the health space, we're always wondering like, what's the one supplement I can take to get shredded, right? Or the
Like
one
one all fix all. Like,
Everyone's looking
quick pill.
the quick. It's always the quick. Yeah.
Everyone's looking for the magic pill.
Yeah.
And the truth is, whether it's business, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's relationships, health, there's no fucking magic pill. You need to be committed. You need to be consistent, right? And microdosing is not a magic pill. So if you eat like shit, if you sleep like shit, if you don't move your body, if you fucking hate yourself,
Important.
that shit's not going to fix everything, right? But it's a valuable tool that we can implement in combination with the other healthy practices. Now, so in that case, and in many other cases with my students, they come in, they're on Adderall for years, antidepressants. Not just they're on it, they've been on the highest dose, right? They're sometimes on 3-4 different pills. Within 6 weeks, bro, within 6 weeks, they've completely safely weaned off of these things and introduced all of these healthy practices and principles. Wow. Which is really powerful.
I have a coworker that suffers from anxiety and depression and has to take antidepressants. I've always thought about like maybe telling him like, hey, try some shrooms, but I don't have much knowledge on it because I've heard that is one of the cures and maybe could be the potential reason why the government still is not like regulating it and making it legal, is like because maybe big pharma makes them more money than something. I don't know. It's a lot of things that could be possible, but
100%, bro.
You know,
those same companies that prescribe Adderall are publicly traded companies.
Yeah.
And if politicians have access to open markets, which is finally a convo now that I don't think they should because they're politicians. That's what you take the badge for. But yeah, I think that it's totally.
But I've been wanting to tell them that like get off of those pills because you depend on it too much and try this. This probably will open your world to a lot of stuff. So what would you recommend if you had the opportunity to coach one-on-one, this coworker? Because I like to help people, and he's a good person, and I would love to,
That was why I asked the question. I was like, because I know tons. Adderall's been prescribed to kids all the time, all over America.
This is what's crazy. And make sure this conversation's there's a lot of many different paths we can go. So I'm going to do my best to like stay grounded, but this is what's crazy. And I recently had a video on TikTok like 2 weeks ago that went super viral, like 5.5 million views. And it was basically showing people, parents, the ingredients of these food and drinks that are commonly fed to our children, right? In this case, it was Pedialyte, right? This is the most
I think we all use it.
Wow, yeah, we all do. Even
adults, right?
Myself.
For hangovers and shit.
Yeah, myself.
And if you look at the ingredients, there's Red 40, which is a artificial food dye, petroleum-based, that's been found to cause neurological disorders on the brain. There's sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener that's 50 times sweeter and more addictive than sugar, right? And we know that Red 40 has been directly linked to things like ADHD. So this vicious cycle starts very young. And then you see 7, 8, 9-year-olds being prescribed ADHD meds, Adderall, Vyvanse, Ritalin. So the prescriptions for those in just the last 10 years have gone up 5x. 250 million people are prescribed those type of stimulants. And essentially it's legalized cocaine. And if you look at the brain scans from people who regularly use cocaine and Adderall, they're literally lighting up the same exact parts. The frontal lobe of the brain where your dopamine centers live, which is why when you take these drugs, you feel this burst of focus, motivation to get shit done, but it wears off, right? And then guess what? You're craving more. You can't function without it.
The crash is huge too.
You can't function without it.
Because I would try it. The first time I tried Adderall, to me it was like this big, like, wow, I feel invincible. I can do 5 backflips right now. I'm getting so much shit done. And then I felt the crash after. And now, and I think, and I'm like, do I really want to depend on this to get shit done? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm capable of doing it. And that's when I realized, like, hey, I need to chill on it. And I'm not, like, I was even considering going to the doctor. Hey, give me some Adderall. And I was like, no, I think I can do this. And then I did a little bit more research and how can it affect your brain long term. And I'm like,
I'm glad you did that research.
Not worth it, you know. And it's a thing, you know. It's very popular, especially in like young students, to study, get, like, you know, their tests done, to stay up all night and like party. It's crazy. So
let me answer the question you asked.
Yes,
because I never really fully answered it. So going back to Casey's question about like self-discovery, he was asking, can this help people?
Yes.
So I mentioned how, yes, it can. I've witnessed insane stories and breakthroughs with my students. But like he was saying, it's a great tool for tapping into self-awareness, right? We were just at Gary Vee's conference.
What do you think it is about the mushrooms? What do you think it's about that makes you do that? What is it about that? Do you know?
Yeah, so there's two powerful mechanisms that are happening at the same time. So the first thing, which leads to more self-awareness, more productivity, more creativity, is that we're increasing the amount of neural connections in the brain, right? So now we're firing and wiring new neurons. So that's why a lot of times you'll have these realizations, like connecting the dots from something from deep in your past to something in the present moment. It's like, oh shit, some of my best content, almost all of my best content, is either filmed or created when I'm microdosing, because I'm just thinking outside the box. As men especially, we tend to be very over analytical. We're constantly overthinking shit, right? When we're at our best, we're in a flow state. We're not thinking, we're just doing, we're being, we're feeling, right? So there's that component, and then there's also the amygdala. So the amygdala is this small almond-shaped part of the brain. And what psilocybin does is it actually reduces blood flow to the amygdala. And the amygdala is where all fear and anxiety lives. So most people with anxiety and depression, they have overactive amygdalas. They're just constantly in a state of fear, especially now the last 2 years with the pandemic, right? You see that shit. So psilocybin actually starves fear from the brain by restricting blood flow to that area.
Wow.
All in the meantime, while creating those new neural connections. So it's pretty fucking fantastic. So it's not just a placebo effect. It's literally impacting our brain in such a profound, powerful way. And with that being said, no long-term detrimental effects, completely safe. And we can reference studies. I can send you guys studies that back that up as well.
I mean, it basically then that's what it does is hyper intensify, like you said, those neurons. And if I think about even the creative side of like the Limitless movie, they have the part where he goes and he's in a subway and all of a sudden he remembers when he was 6 that he watched Bruce Lee movies and he fought some guys in the subway because the Bruce Lee movies came back to his head. And when you said connecting old memories with new experiences as you're doing that, that's definitely a creative mindset right there. That's huge.
Exactly crazy. What he said. That movie is literally like microdosing. And I'm not even joking. Like Limitless. And if you think about Bradley Cooper in that movie, it wasn't so much that he had like these superpowers. It was more so that he like let go of the shit that normally holds us back. The overthinking, the overhearing. Like you're purely in that flow state. Like we're on this podcast right now. You guys might be thinking like, hey, what should we talk about next? But like most likely you're just flowing with the conversation.
Yeah,
it's not even
curious.
Scripted. It's just we're conversating.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm learning you and your journey, and it sounds like was there a point in your life where you didn't know what microdosing was and anything about everything you know now, and and it like, how did you find it? Did it help you? Did it save you? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. That's a good question, man. So
because let's subtract a little bit and kind of tell your backstory, because for people that don't know, I didn't mention it. That was my job as a host to kind of introduce you and say, hey, you got 1 million. You just hit 1 million on TikTok, which congrats on that.
Thanks,
That's
bro.
hard work. I see the content constantly go out. Like I said, you're just on one, right? So if somebody were to come to you and tell you like, hey, what do you do? Like, Jeremy, nice to meet you. What do you do? What do you tell them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I really say that I help people escape the prison of their own minds. Yeah.
That's big.
Because, listen, there's a lot of podcast hosts, there's a lot of health coaches in the world, but really you have to get clear with the impact that you're making on these people, right? So for me, man, like I studied business and sports marketing in school. I thought I wanted to work in sports, own a team, be a sports agent, whatever.
Sweet. That's
Yeah.
kind of a cool, like,
Facts, yeah. And then when I was 24, actually, like 6 years ago in California, I got fired from my dream job, which was the Oakland A's. I was working with them.
no shit.
And then my girl at the time was cheating on me.
Oh, fuck.
So you
Found
went
this
through
out-
it. You
found-
was down bad.
Don't
I
say
found
it,
this
bro.
out in like a 48-hour span. And I was like, fuck it, bro. Like, none of my boys back home were doing shit. And I was like, I'm going to just get out of my comfort zone. I moved to Miami. And
California to Miami.
yeah.
Wow.
And quickly, like within a year, I found myself like coaching youth sports, and then
Really?
I started training. I started working. A lot of the parents of the kids I was coaching were asking for training because I was always like, I've always been a pretty
sport?
fit guy.
What sport?
I was coaching flag football, basketball.
Damn.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I've always loved working with kids, and then naturally, some of the parents were asking for training for them. I wasn't even certified at the time. I was like, oh shit. Well, like, I said yes. I was like, I need some money, and I enjoy it, but like, I didn't technically have the certification. So I got that first certification, and then, bro, like after that, I just became addicted to tapping in to more and more potential for myself and to share that knowledge with other people.
Yeah.
Started working with a lot of high-level pro athletes.
What made you choose Miami out of all the places? I know Miami is obviously a big city. It's beautiful, but from California to Miami, what made you leave?
So I had
Was it always in your head? Like it was in your plans?
Was there an omen? Was there a
Is there
sign?
something that told you to go?
So I had a homie that lived in Boca, which is like an hour away. And actually, 2 months before that shit happened, when I got fired, I visited him, and it was during the World Cup 2014, Soccer World Cup.
Oh, wow.
And bro, we spent a couple days in Miami, and like the weather and just the energy. And I was like, yo, like this is a dope vibration. Like I fuck with it, you know? And I
Fell in love with the city pretty
That
much.
was like the
and-
last good thing you had before you went through that 48 hours of shit.
yeah. And I just took a chance on myself, man.
And you
Like,
had your boy, and it was a good calling, maybe. And
You know what? Like it reminds me is similar to your story of like making that decision to like leave the homies
jump.
and just
yeah,
jump.
you just jump.
Fucking amazing, bro. That's amazing, Jeremy. So
And that's a message, honestly, for anyone listening right now. It's so fucking easy to get stuck in your easy, simple, comfortable environment where you know everyone, where you have a comfortable job, where you have your group of friends. Like, but really people need to ask themselves, man, is this the position, the situation that's going to allow me to be the best version of myself? Like, am I growing here every day? And so often we don't. We get complacent and we get stagnant. And that really is why so many people settle for mediocrity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I knew
So,
if
like-
shit didn't work out, and shit didn't work out for a minute, I was sleeping in my Honda CRV for like 8 nights.
I love that story, bro. It would always show up like I saw that video where you said that you were in a beautiful place and you told your story, and that to me is amazing because I love that. Like I made it, I was down bad, and now look at where I'm at because I decided to bet on myself. I went all in, and it paid off.
So to rewind though, you're youth coaching right now.
Yeah.
And you're new to Miami and you're figuring out the scene. You got your boy, but you're like meeting new people, I guess, putting yourself out there. What goes next? What's like the big next milestone after that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Next big milestone in that situation would probably be, so I was building momentum training people, right? And mostly for the physical body, like mostly fitness training. I would go to their apartment, their condo, their home, and I would train them, right? And I was good at it. Like I would charge a good price. Like I had a good reputation. My energy was always solid. My knowledge was always there. But in July 2018, I went to Peru. And
we talked about this experience in your shaman story.
Yeah, so I went to Peru and I felt called for this experience. I had been researching plant medicine, specifically ayahuasca, for quite some time. And I felt this calling, like just this strong pull and intuition that this was the time, right? So I flew to Peru by myself. I found a retreat center that I trusted, that people had good things to say. And I went there. And for those who don't know, ayahuasca is a very intense plant medicine that they use in South America. It's very sacred to South America, Peru, Ecuador, even Brazil, the Amazon. And it is a very powerful and potent psychedelic that really allows you to face some things that maybe you've been avoiding. So a lot of people who have struggled with addiction or just different blockages.
Do you think it makes you like I could picture it saying like, why do you do this? Well, why are you doing that? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Is it just you asking yourself a lot of questions?
Honestly, bro, I think that everything in our life, we should infuse intention, right? Like I'm eating this food or I'm having a drink, right? Infusing intention. Like, why am I doing this thing? Why are we here recording? Because I want to connect with you boys. I think you're dope. Hopefully what we're talking about adds value to just a couple people in the world, right? But to answer your question, you're talking about in the experience.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard ayahuasca, Darwin?
I have not.
No? So
I work with a lot of Native Americans, and
Right.
they've definitely experienced with it, and the whole like in a tent too, and seance and their stuff. But yeah,
So whenever you do any of these substances, right, it requires a very high level of surrender, right?
let it go.
And Logan Paul actually spoke about this yesterday when he was talking about going to fight with Floyd and how he was feeling, so nervous and anxious and just scared for the month leading up to it. And then he spoke to his brother, and his brother was saying, listen, man, you're doing all the things right to prepare. Now you have to let go and you have to trust and you have to surrender. And so often as humans, we like to hold on to control. But in reality, we don't control that much. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with that. The universe is like, and things happen, and then you can't see why, even if it's a bad thing that happens and threw you off your course. But then years later, you're like, thank God that threw me off my course, because then now I wouldn't.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like Darwin was saying, like you want to help your boy who's taking Adderall, like, which is beautiful. But in reality, how much control do you have over his decisions?
Oh no, for sure. I give him the information. He do whatever he wants. with it.
Exactly. You can lead with love. Hopefully he decides that he's worth making an improvement and upgrade and change in his life. But like after that, there's only so much you can do. So dude, the medicine, it was so fucking powerful, bro. The first night, so much fucking transformation. I'll tell you guys just a couple of the stories that were crazy. That literally, when I say it was the most life-changing moment of my life,
Yeah.
not an exaggeration.
Wow.
Okay, so number one, keep in mind, I'm doing this with 15 other people,
Okay.
right?
That you know or that you don't know?
complete
Students,
strangers.
your students.
No.
They're on the tour.
no.
Okay,
They're on the
okay.
tour. They're part of the.
This is way before I started my
Retreat.
Oh, okay. This
microdosing.
is the story.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, this is the Peru story.
Okay.
4 years ago, everyone doing it for the first time, all walks of life.
Looking for different things.
Exactly.
I've heard of people losing children, going out there to figure out how to get rid of that, whatever someone's dealing with.
And I'll never forget it. There's this kid there that was like probably early 20s, mid 20s, super fucking successful, high up with Google. And we went around like the evening before sharing why we came. Like, why are we pursuing this path?
Wow.
And I remember this kid, he said, I want to be able to answer the question, is life still worth living?
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
people coming from different backgrounds for different reasons.
Yeah.
I was in a place in my life where I was feeling so overwhelmed with just everything that was going on here. Like, I had all these ideas and I was like, and I knew I had so much potential inside, but I was like, I struggled to actually take action.
Where's the answers? Where's the action?
It was like overwhelmed with so many things I wanted to do. It was like, where the fuck do I start?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been there.
So I was like, dude, I just need clarity right now, right? So, dude, the first night, probably 3 or 4 hours in, I get a tap on my shoulder. This is in my experience. It's fucking Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj?
Yeah,
Wow.
in my experience.
Yeah.
She's not actually in Peru, but
Yeah.
this is my experience.
Yeah. Taps you on the shoulder.
And the crazy thing is, like, I don't fuck with Nicki Minaj like that.
All the people,
Like,
right?
For real, like in Drake, Nicki Minaj songs, I literally fast forward through Nicki.
Oh,
Like,
come on, not like, no disrespect like
want
that.
this
no,
moment
not
for
like
life.
Moment for life.
No,
She's
she's
gonna
on
come
them.
up with
Yeah, we
Wonka.
just
Come on,
shitted
it's
on them.
Nicki, bro.
yeah, she's
But
got
yeah,
a couple nice
anyway,
ones.
come on.
We're just giving you.
So anyways,
Taps on the shoulder.
Nicki Minaj in this ceremony, bro, she says, yo, Jeremy, like, bro, you're so fucking dope. Like, I wanna put you on my Instagram live and just give you 30 minutes to say whatever you want to the world. And I'm like, Nicki, like, for real? Like, we ain't even homies like that. But she's like, I see you though, for real. Like, I think your message is so powerful. I want you to share it right now.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. Like, I guess
And
we're
you know,
doing this.
and you know what you give out, you know what you put in the world. So it's like telling you, but it's someone that's crazy. Keep going.
So Nicki Minaj. So I am in my reality thinking that I'm doing this IG live with Nicki Minaj. So naturally, I start speaking
really,
out
your
loud
message.
in the ceremony, but you're supposed to stay quiet in these ceremonies.
Sure.
You have people throwing up, you have people screaming, people going through their
they
traumas.
cry, yeah.
Real shit, bro. Anyways, I couldn't help it. I just start speaking out loud. Right? Probably the most powerful 15, 20 minutes I've ever spoken. I wish it was recorded. But dude, after that, I was like speaking to the people in my group because I knew they were all going through different shit, right? And then after our experience ended that night and we all met in the kitchen to have like a little light soup and tea, right?
Yeah.
6 or 7 of the people came up to me and they're like, bro, those words that you said literally got me through the most challenging experience tonight. I'm so fucking grateful. And I was like, damn, like that's crazy. So that was a huge game changer for me because it really showed me how powerful my voice was. And I was like, bro,
How do I amplify it? How do I take this to the next level?
I literally got back to Miami and like started my podcast 2 or 3 weeks later. I started to take my
Epic.
content creation way more seriously. Instead of just posting like shirtless workout videos, I started to actually like share more of my truth. Right? What was also crazy about that same experience, literally the same fucking night, bro. So I have one older brother. He's 5 years older. And when I was like 13, he was 18. He started to go down the route of drugs, alcohol. And I basically lost him. Like he was technically alive, but like, I don't know if you guys
wasn't
can
here.
No, I could relate to that shit, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a boy that we grinded my early days in Oklahoma. We had all these visions, and he relapsed on oxycodons. And after he relapsed, 6 months later, he robbed a bank, did a year in the feds, and now we don't even talk anymore. And he's living somewhere in Texas. So, yeah, it ruins drugs, ruin just friendships, love, people that love you, your mother's relationship with you. Like I've seen drugs. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and if you look up the statistics, we're one of the worst in the nation. So I feel that.
Yeah. And I mean, Oxycontin is the number one killer between adults ages 18 and 45 in America. I mean, it's these opioids that are technically legal.
Legal. No, they're legal. And they're so easy to access. You just tell them, I'm sorry, I'm hurting. And then the doctor, it's so easy. And
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, that experience. So for 15 years, I didn't really have a relationship with my brother. And I kind of got to a point in my life where I was like, dude, like, fuck this dude. Like, I treated him like I wasn't an asshole in any way.
But you had loyalty your whole life. That's your brother.
Of course.
But you were in a position where it was like it was affecting you.
Well, I didn't think it was really, I was like, I basically had gone all this time without really having my brother in my life. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to just do me. I got to take care of myself. You feel me? And, but in that moment, in that experience, I felt my brother's pain and suffering on a crazy level that I'd never experienced before. So this level of compassion, I was purging because you throw up a lot during ayahuasca, right?
Well, you even got a fast before, right?
Yeah. Oh, we did a crazy intense fast. Oh. But anyways, I'm purging, dude, and it was literally like my brother's pain and suffering. And it just gave me a whole new level of perspective for all the shit that he had been holding on to, the guilt, the shame. And that just made me a better human being, a better brother. I reached out to him right after that.
A lot more empathy, yeah.
Yeah, and just like made me a much better human being because it changed the whole way I approached my family, my friends.
Wow. Have you told your brother? Have you said like you encourage people to do these trips, and have you encouraged them to maybe go and open their mind? I know the whole stigma, dude. I even like my mom, and now weed's getting legal, and Hispanic families are very no, even weed, everything. So I get that, but have you had success in getting folks that you love truly, that you know would be eye opening for them to go? I
mean, with mushrooms, yes, man. I mean, for me, what's beautiful is like, I think a couple of people said it. I think actually Gary V talks about this. He talks about not convincing anyone. It's just conviction, right? I'm not going to convince you to start an NFT project. I'm not going to convince you to start working out or eating healthy. But hopefully you look at me, you look at the life I'm creating.
And what you're sharing.
You see the results I've created for hundreds, if not thousands of other people. And it's like, man, this dude knows what's up.
You give them the information, they decide to do whatever they want with it. That's what it really comes down to.
That's a good answer.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, if you think about it. So when does Jeremy start tapping into content creation and sharing your message with the world? When do you dive into TikTok? Is that where you started? Did you start it on Instagram, then discover TikTok? How did that whole thing came about?
Yeah.
That's my thing right there.
For sure, yeah. So, like I said, actually, after about 4 years ago, I was creating on Instagram I've probably been posting for 5 or 6 years consistently. Starting off like a lot of workout stuff. I mean, as time goes, these platforms change. So like there's no reels or any of that shit, obviously. But slowly started to build a following on Instagram. My podcast I started 3.5 years ago. And TikTok started May 1st, 2020. That was my first post.
May 1st. Sheesh.
2020.
Huh.
And I was just like...
What was your first TikTok, like, ever video? What was it about?
Bro, I was like, literally, I'm just going to have fun and try and...
I think we all started that way. It's crazy, huh?
Do what TikTok people do. So, like, I had one of my girlfriends who had been on TikTok for a couple months. So she, like, knew some of the trends and the dances. So I brought her over one day and I was like, teach me some of this shit. Like, how do I film this?
You were really willing to do some dances.
Oh, like we did the one.
Do you love me? Are you riding?
Yeah, I did that.
That's an early one.
No, are you done? You know the one? One of the first ones.
Watching whip. That's fine. That's fine.
Anyway, go ahead.
One of the first ones, bro. We should pull this video up. It was a Drake song, the Flip the Switch.
Oh God, I remember that trend.
So she was in a bikini. And I was in like my Miami Heat jersey. And then we flipped the switch. And then I was in the bikini and she was in the jersey.
Yeah, that was a trend. It was like couples were doing that shit.
Nah. Oh. I don't think the people like that. Like and I was like, I'm glad that shit did go viral because I don't want to be doing that shit much more often.
Imagine now, I think there would be a lot of memes of just trolls coming at you and saying, look at this guy. You already know how it goes, but that would have probably had a meme with that and just came at you for that. Like, look at this guy in a bikini and shit. I remember that trend. That trend was one of the popular ones. Couples would always switch clothes. I just flip the switch, boom, boom, turn off the light. They have different opposite clothes.
Yeah. Dude, funny story, actually.
Funny that you started that trend.
Funny story. The next month, though, June, okay, I go back home to visit. I remember this very vividly, bro. I visit my family in June. I remember going. After a month, I had like maybe 8,000 followers when I went that trip. Yeah. Dude, I post this video. I just do I do a dance with my mom.
Nice.
Right?
Which one?
I do the dude, I just posted it for Mother's Day. Oh my God. You know the
what song?
Oh, dan, dan, dan. Was it that one? Okay. That's the Jason Derulo one, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was before the Derulo remix.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I know the beat. I know what you're talking about.
Anyways, we'll pull up the video maybe in B-roll. Dude, 6 million views.
Wow.
That's what...
6 million views, and I remember like 2 or 3 days later, had like 45,000 followers. I was like, whoa, this shit's crazy. I was like, yo, Dad, let's do a dance.
Oh my God, I love
shit with my dad, it's like 4 million views.
I love it.
And I'm like, what? And like, literally, I leave that trip. I was there for a week. I leave back to Florida with like 80,000 followers. It was crazy. Literally, in less than a week, went from like 8 to 80K. But again, none of those videos were actually attached to anything that I actually do.
It wasn't showing you. It was just showing a trend, which is crazy.
Which is crazy. But at the same time, I would argue that those type of pieces of content are actually important. Because because bro.
They're all part of the story.
Because, dude, a lot of people should know how much love that I have with my parents and like the relationship I have with them. Because I posted other shit with them. And that subconsciously makes them like me more and trust me more. Because they're like, yo, this is like a good dude. Like he treats his parents right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not why I posted the videos.
Yeah.
I didn't post that shit because like I'm trying to like get clout as like a great son.
You were discovering the app.
Yeah. And at least you had a plan after that. Those 2 videos went viral because that's what a lot of people make mistakes is they keep jumping on trends, and that's all they depend on. You were able to jump on the trend and be like, now what can I do to keep growing and have people know me for me?
And if you pull back on some universe shit, like you had that experience and then you've been like slowly starting to put stuff out. And then it was kind of like these omens with these dances of you just being you. And it's like, okay, we got momentum here and the universe is giving me this calling and great.
Yes. Like so you get that big following, 80K at the moment, right? What goes from there after those 2 dances?
Dude, it's funny because again, like I said, it was still like, what's my message? What's my mission? Like, I know what I do. Like, at this point, I'm mostly doing high-level one-on-one coaching remotely with a lot of high-level executives, entrepreneurs, integrating all these health practices, right? Movement, mindset, nutrition, microdosing, all these things. But I hadn't started really talking about any of that shit on TikTok, right? Like, people can see by looking at me, they're like, okay, this guy obviously takes care of himself. But I wasn't really like consistently, I wasn't going to be like the fitness person. So then, funnily enough, my next trip back to Cali, a few months later, maybe at this point, I have 250,000 followers, right? But again, not really monetizing or anything because I hadn't really decided like who the fuck I am.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, you can't monetize, because you just got followers, and it's on some like
it's a mixture of trends, of like
exactly. You know. Exactly. So, dude, I'm at Safeway, which is the grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys have Safeway in Oklahoma?
Yeah. Well, Albuquerque. Yeah.
So I go to Safeway, and I literally go there with the intention of getting a couple things for my family and myself, and then I just get inspired to take this video. Talking about how so much of the shit in our grocery store is fucking poison. Doritos, Gatorade, all of these things that we're constantly bombarded with marketing and celebrities endorsements, right? And I was just like, guys, this shit is fucking poison. Like, you're wondering why you feel like shit? It's because you're feeding yourself shit, right? And I remember the title of the video or something was like low vibration foods or something like that. It's talking about food and vibration. It went viral. And it was super unexpected for me because I thought it was very basic information. I was talking about Doritos, Coca-Cola, like why these things fuck you up. And everyone was like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like all of this shit. And I was like, for real? Like y'all didn't know that Doritos and Coke are not good for you? So I took a step back and I was like, damn, bro, there's a huge gap. Like shit that I just assume everybody knows clearly is not known by the masses. So then I was like, wow, I have an opportunity to educate people on what they're feeding themselves and hopefully helping them create a healthier lifestyle, better decisions. And that led to me like creating these grocery store videos. And a lot of them were fucking going super viral. I remember I went from probably like 300K to 600K in like a month and a half.
Yeah. I saw it. That's how I discovered you. I see it in one of your videos talking about the products and what it contains and all the poisons. And I'm like, damn, it takes a lot to do that. It might sound simple, but not a lot of people have the courage to go out a grocery store and film that and point out the ingredients and stuff. So I was like, I'll fuck with that. Yeah. You know, people need that. You know, people need to like at least be aware of what they're consuming because that way they're more mindful of what they put in their body. That's what I think.
And then just to finish that whole journey, I would say then I reached a point where I was like, I'm passionate about nutrition. It's a very important piece of the pie when we talk about just being healthy and happy, but it's just a piece. Like, I don't want to be identified as the nutrition guy or as like this dude who's going fucking crazy in grocery stores, right? Like, I want to talk about the other shit because like when it comes down to it, it's all about mindset.
Yeah. It's all about everything that made you where you were at that point. Do you think that there was a part of your mind that was like subconsciously, it was like the stigma of what people think about trips to Peru and shrooms and, you know, ayahuasca? Was that ever like, I'm not going to talk about that yet on TikTok. I'm not like, did you ever hold yourself back at all? And then all of a sudden be like, you know what? Fuck the stigma. I'm just going to do me. Was that ever a thought?
Bro, it's really taking the time to discover and get clear with who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Because
always.
It's very easy if you know something's going to hit and do well and perform well, then it's very easy to just continue putting shit like that out. And it's not, again, you see this all the time with like female influencers, right? Who are just like posting booty pictures. And I have friends who are doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently, but they're feeding the algorithm. Right. They know that that's going to get way more engagement. It's going to get way more external validation. They're going to get the hit of dopamine. They're chasing the instant gratification rather than actually taking a step back and connecting with their heart and being like, yo, like you're not just a physical piece of ass. Like you actually have more depth inside of you to share with the world, to speak your truth. Don't attach 100% of your self-worth to your fucking physical body, because what happens when you're not feeling pretty one day?
Yes. Do you want to be remembered by the TikToker with the big ass? Is that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day. If you're a TikToker or influencer that always showing your body, showing your ass, ask yourself, do you want to be remembered like I was the TikTok girl with the big ass, and that's how I grow my following. That's how I grew it, you know? Yeah. It's at providing value and seeing that you are capable of offering more. That's what I think. I mean,
and I would piggyback that. Any TikTokers or IG women with nice booties or just nice faces, nice waists, nice feet, whatever it is. Listen. That's amazing. Don't hide that, right? Because you can use that to actually inspire other people to create a healthier lifestyle and maybe attain a body that they desire, right? It's not to say like never post that shit. No, like be proud of what you have if it's something you worked for.
It all just comes down to be true to you and what do you really want out of it? What followers do you really want out of it? What people do you really want in your DMs? Like people that are fuck with what you really fuck with, like, and just staying who you are. So yeah,
this is huge what he just said, by the way.
Huge.
Because this is the reason. It's so funny. What you just said actually triggered this because so many people in the last 5 years, and again, we'll just use this example. I don't want to sound like we're picking on women because I fucking obviously love women. Beautiful women too. Love you just as much. But why do you think OnlyFans blew up so much too during the pandemic? Because they basically, all of these women who had built massive followings physically from their body, like solely from their body, they're looking for a way to monetize their audience. They can't sell a course on mindfulness, on meditation, on building a bulletproof mindset. No, they got 85% horny, thirsty dudes trying to fucking jerk off to them. So, okay. And again, nothing wrong with that. We got to all eat. I get it. But like, do you really want all of your income to be based on dudes jerking off to you? And if so, that's cool. I'm not here to judge you, but just ask yourself these questions, right?
Right.
We just went down a rabbit hole.
No, for sure.
But it's real. I mean, it's real.
It's the thing. I mean, like I said, I spend enough time and there's most likely a podcast where I always talk about TikTok because I always say it's the platform to grow your business, your brand, but it's like the TikTok rewards obviously, if you show ass, it rewards the dumbness of like stupid trends. The positive shit, like what you're doing, might not get as much reach as the dumb trend, the crate trends, the people, the Tide Pods where people eating, go to the, like, I'm going to eat this, the whole fucking where they were eating that shit. It is what it is. But it comes down to what you said, Casey. Are you going to stay true to yourself or are you going to be a sellout?
You know why that is though, right? You know why TikTok rewards that in their algorithm. So it's a Chinese-owned company.
It's a for you algorithm. I mean, if you're looking up ads.
I like where you're going with it. I think I know where you're going.
Here's the thing. In America, the content that goes viral on TikTok is the stupidest, most useless content. It's teenagers in bikinis dancing, doing stupid, meaningless shit that adds no value to anyone's life.
Yep,
right?
That's true.
In China, the only content that goes viral is content that's educational. That's teaching kids.
Is this fact?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
With that TikTok algorithm?
Yes.
Yeah.
In China, the only content that goes viral is content that's teaching its citizens, hey, here's how to be better at math. Here's how to be better at engineering, programming, development.
Yep.
Because they want to cultivate skills in their youth.
Think about it. Yeah.
In America, and I'm further convinced this is why a lot of the shit that I get shadow banned for get shadow banned, because I'm literally trying to empower our people to take further control of their health, their happiness, their habits. Right? So it makes perfect sense.
I'm so enlightened right now.
Think about it,
I had
Casey.
no idea that this was a...
Yeah, think about it, Casey.
And it's... I know, look, I know business, I talk to you all the time, talking to Christos. When you talk about trade war, there's someone in Greece that's a liaison with the U.S., and there's someone in China, and we're always competing.
Right.
And that just is... that blows my mind.
Yeah, think about
and
it,
there has
Casey,
to be awareness to that.
Let's say, like, for example, I'll use my little sister as an example, 11-year-old, right? If she goes to school and her friend's like, look, I went viral for doing this stupid shit.
That's exactly right.
Then my sister's going to be like, is that the thing I need to do to go viral?
Wow.
That's what it is.
Wow.
And it makes perfect sense. Like, because I'm like...
And I want to look up all that old stuff. I know there was a lot of controversy. They wanted Microsoft to buy TikTok. They were going to ban TikTok.
It was always a thing.
I thought China was going to ban it.
It never went through, but it makes perfect sense because I sometimes get frustrated. I just stay true to myself. I don't give a fuck at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck at the end of the day what's going to go viral viral, I'm not doing that shit unless it's content that I'm providing that it stays true to me. That's what I'm like. I'm not going to switch up and be like, that's the trend. That's what's popping right now. I'm going to go and do that and switch up the content because that's going viral. Because we know everybody can do it on TikTok, but you got to stay true to yourself. And a lot of people sell out.
And ultimately, I have faith that there's just more individuals like Jeremy, like us, that just like keep awareness, talk about it, stay true to you. And so I feel like it's like the government can't just come out and say, I know as a leader, this is bad for our country. And I know China's doing this, but we're not going to stop it because we're going to take away your freedoms. And our faith is going to be just in the people discovering it themselves.
Like growth for
crazy.
For both podcasts has been amazing. I'm always grateful for TikTok and the platform because it's a once in a lifetime platform that gives you the exposure that these other platforms don't. My growth has been steady and slow, but I've been staying true to myself, and I'm happy with that. Other accounts grow overnight and on a ridiculous level. If you look at Charli D'Amelio, no offense to her, but she has no talent but dancing. And she's been able to make an empire off of that, which is like, I applaud you for that. But if we look at it, she, for the most part...
It's all about what she does with it.
She's done great.
No, at the end of the day, you could flip it from a dance with your mom and your dad to empowering people in a multiple level.
The only thing that I would say that is like I said, she's done great with it, but she's copied like black women's dances. Most of her dances that have gone viral is because of a black woman that creates the trend, creates the dance, and she goes ahead and copies it, never gives them credit. That was a thing. And that's how she got up there. But anyways, props to her because she's made she's made an empire off of that, and it's working for her. So it's like, do what you got to do.
It's just crazy, bro. Like, it's crazy. But it's actually, just to kind of close that loophole. So the first post I ever made about microdosing on TikTok was another dance. It was talking about the benefits of microdosing. It was this dance. You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. So I do benefits of microdosing. I do the dance. Bro, 3.5 million views in the comments. Oh my gosh, this saved my life. What is microdosing? Oh my gosh, I would do anything to get off these pills. And I'm just literally thousands of comments. And I'm like, yo, bro, like
calling.
I'm like, yo, because at this point, I was already aware of how powerful it was. I had a client at the time. He's still a very close friend. High up with Google, 13 years of heroin addiction.
Wow.
9 months of working with him, didn't relapse once, still sober to this day. So I knew how powerful and potent this was. But I was also, am I ready to share this in a bigger way, right? You know, my dad was a brain doctor. So my dad was actually trained in medical school to just prescribe these pills, right? And I saw my brother go down this rabbit hole being prescribed everything, which is one of the reasons why I was inspired to pursue this path. That I studied psychedelics. I was like, how can I help my brother heal? Because if he continues
your dad would prescribe, and then, I mean, obviously doctors used to get lobbied back in the day, but then he would allow your brother to take some of these meds early on.
Yeah, my dad's a very smart guy.
Sure.
Much smarter than me in some ways, right? But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So my dad, the way he was raised in medical school is like, you put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. You want to get people out of pain. So like sometimes this is the best way to do it. And antidepressants, in fairness, do save lives sometimes in the short term, right? But they're not a long-term solution. They were never designed and brought to the market to be a long-term solution. So I knew, based on my brother, he was completely numb. Have you guys ever, like, if you guys have anyone in your life, maybe if you're listening, that's been on antidepressants, like, it's like talking to a wall. They're completely emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe that dulls some of their pain, but it also dulls all of the life out of them. It's not fucking living when you can't feel your emotions.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. So to answer your question about that, like that shit, and then I was like, dude, like I need to start sharing this more. So then I started shifting and I started getting more aligned with my content. I was talking about things like anxiety, depression. When I was talking about food, it was like attaching it to your mood and to self-love, because when it comes down to it, if you truly love yourself, if you love yourself unconditionally, then you won't feed yourself toxic, poison, chemical-laced shit. You won't surround yourself with toxic individuals. You just won't, because you genuinely love yourself. Why would you treat yourself like that if you love and respect yourself? You won't, right? So it all comes down to self-love.
Yeah, I like that. That's a big one. And yeah, bro, it's props to you, bro, because it takes a lot. How do you deal with the hate? Because I know you get a lot of hate. How do you deal with that? And then how do you get so comfortable?
Well, shit, if it's controlled by China, do they have little bots in there that just do hate on the accounts they want to take off? God, bro.
So how do you deal with the hate?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, man, like, this is one of the reasons I feel very aligned with Gary, because our mindsets are very similar. And if you've ever heard him talk about just dealing with hate, the best way to deal with hate is to really take a step back and gain the perspective on where that person is in their life, right? If they feel the need to take up their own valuable time, their most valuable asset, to spew venom and talk shit to a complete stranger through a screen, then they must be in an extremely dark place in their life. They literally took the time to consume my content, and then they took the time to say something malicious because they're hurting inside. And the way that they're dealing with that hurt is by spreading that hurt to other people, because, let's be honest, misery loves company. Right? So, like, and it's gotten way better, bro, but, like, dude, there's times where there's people that would, and it still happens, but there's so many notifications, like, I don't even get to them. But, like, bro, there's this one woman, there's people who use my content for clout, like they'll duet it and shit like that, and it's the only way their shit gets views, like, for real.
Wow.
And this one woman, bro, like, went super deep. She must have spent hours researching me. She finds out all this shit about my brother, my parents.
Oh, shit.
Like, your dad, who was a brain doctor who went to this college from this town, like, what does he think of what you're doing, spreading all these lies? What about your brother? What about your brother who like been through this and that? Like, I was like, this bitch has way too much time on his, like, wow. I legit, like that was one person I legit, like, I wish I had the chance to fucking see her in person and just be like say that shit to my face right now. Same thing with all these other people. They would never say shit to me in person. So now, and sometimes I'll get DMs too. I recently got this DM last week. And my shit is mostly all positive, by the way. I've cultivated a community that's, like, super aligned. Lost a fuck ton of followers in the process. But, bro, like, there's nothing better than a community of like-minded people. And when you post things that are polarizing or controversial, even though I don't think what I post is controversial, right? A lot of people who are operating in these old narratives, right? For them to hear, oh, these pills, like, you shouldn't take them. What do you mean? Like, my doctor said I should. They must be good for me. They get triggered. And they're sheep. Like, all during the pandemic, I was saying since the first fucking day, I was like, this is ridiculous. We're closing parks, but we're leaving liquor stores open? What? How the fuck does that make sense? We're making young 3-year-old, 4-year-old children wear masks when we know that they're not capable of really getting seriously ill or spreading the virus. Anyways, I was getting a shit ton of hate for that, even though everything I said has been proven to be factual. But regardless, last week this dude DM'd me, and he was just talking a bunch of shit, like, bro, like you really think drinking from plastic's that bad? You should try, like, lifting weights or something. Like, just, like, saying stupid shit. And I clicked on the dude's profile, and I saw he was a military veteran, right? And I just sent a message. I was like, yo, man, I just want to let you know I'm so grateful for your service. Thank you so much. And he had DM'd me like 5 or 6 times with like hateful shit. I was like, damn, like this is a military vet saying this? Like I got love for a veteran, bro. He literally fucking risked his life to serve. I'm just going to reach out with some love. And then he just replied back like, thanks, man. You know? So like I'll always just hit them back with love.
Yeah, that's the best weapon.
Yeah.
That is,
Well, like,
well, I'll get hate.
But bro, I honestly think like you could gear more towards veterans. 22 veterans kill themselves a day. I mean, I'm a veteran, and even one of the guys that went to rescue swimmer school 2 years after we got out of the Navy, he got out like maybe 6 months after I did. He committed suicide, drank some antifreeze, and just couldn't handle like transition to civilian life. But I really feel like some people just need that just eye-opening to find themselves, to ask those questions. And I really feel like that's what like psychedelics do. They force you to ask questions about yourself, and you have to face that.
And maybe that message you send him was like, damn, this guy's actually, and maybe changed his perspective on things. Like, because
You hope.
Yeah, we hope, right? Yeah, but
what Casey said's on point though. And that's actually a big part of my NFT project's mission is 10% of the money in the treasury
overall royalty, or treasury
is going to be going towards supporting veterans who are suffering with PTSD with the real therapy they deserve. And that includes psychedelics, but it also includes like having people to talk to. Yeah. And I think it's one of the biggest tragedies. I feel like from what I know, I think America does a terrible job of really putting our veterans in position to succeed after getting back. I mean, like integrating back into society.
For sure. It's hard. There's one program, it's 2 weeks, and all these big oil companies usually go to it. A couple companies that are private, like Blackwater, and do mercenary work overseas. They're the ones that show up. You can apply at a job fair. It's 2 weeks transition, and then you're back in the real world. And like a lot of people only do 4 years. So if you think about a lot of people, and like it's all lower class Americans that get in the military just to leave their small town. So it's like, yeah, once they get out, they've lived the last 4 years. They've worked with their peers that are all their own age, and it's just this totally different environment. And whether or not it's PTSD, a lot of it's just depression because they were used to that camaraderie for 4 years. And now Steve, the 38-year-old here at this desk, and Lucy over here that has her 4 kids, they don't give a fuck what you think. And if you're willing to grind and you don't have anybody.
My grandpa was never the same. He went to the Vietnam War. I remember as a kid, I told him very ignorant, how many people did you kill? Very ignorant. I didn't know shit. He didn't gave me this stared in the eye and said, don't ever ask me that question again. Wow. And later as I mature, I apologized for it and I have a conversation, but he said he had a whole squad and he was the only survivor.
Wow.
And him seeing the people that he established relationships with gone. I mean, it's just like I said, he never was the same. He had obviously a serious alcohol problem, and from time to time we had to, take him to the VA, but it was just, I feel like he never got the help he deserved.
And not just taking these psychedelics, I think alone could help you. I really think you need to focus on people like Jeremy, and I think the new people that are going to come to light as this gets less decriminalized, more medically used, because I think you do need to coach. You kind of need somebody to walk you through it. If you just take it on your own and you don't know anything, you can go in a really dark place and it might not be beneficial to you. So it's not the save all be all. You kind of need somebody to, I feel walk you through those feelings.
Yeah. I love it. I love that.
Sure.
I mean, that's 100% true. I mean, it's one of those things, and that's a good point to bring up, bad trips.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think that's something that everyone fears when they think mushrooms.
That's me.
Right? You think bad trips. So bad trips, for those people listening, are literally potentially.
Yes.
So bad trips. So bad trips, he said, could potentially be the best trips, which is true. We'll talk about that. But bad trips usually, in most cases, refer to someone going through some hard, challenging moments and experiences during their journey.
Yeah. The depression's coming out. The PTSD's coming out.
The shit they've been numbing themselves.
Yes,
they're
it's
actually
coming to
facing
light.
now.
They have to. You have to face it. Yeah.
So see, that's what I'd be curious of my trip, because really I don't do any kind of drugs, but I do have like anxiety.
You have things you stress about. You have things that make you get depressed.
Right.
And
then
you just face all of it. But I think this is where Jeremy touches on the coaching aspect of it.
Well, yeah. So
Through that,
we all have things that we're unaware of that have somehow impacted us
subconsciously too,
as to who we are now, right? Mm-hmm. Whether we recognize it or not. And that's why I tell people, it's like, people will say, bro, I don't need to do that. Like I'm good. I'm like, I like my life. I'm like, bro, this is just a tool to expand. By no means am I telling you to do anything. We talked about that. I'm not here to force anyone.
Yeah.
But like, be open-minded to understanding that there's so much about yourself that you don't even understand, that you haven't even tapped into, right? So much of your life is a subconscious program that you don't even think about. It's just automatic habits.
We talked about curiosity of econ and how curiosity and staying curious and everybody being there early. You got to stay curious about life and what especially natural herbs that are available to you can possibly do.
Let's talk about this real quick.
Let's talk about it, man, because I think I'm to the point where I feel like at any given time, I can be like, I'm ready to microdose.
I'm going to leave you guys something and we'll talk about it off air. So let's finish. So the bad trip, right? So I lead bigger doses. Like I led a retreat in Jamaica. When was that? Last year, which is fucking epic. And I'm a part of another journey in Costa Rica in a couple months. But like you said, those are much more intentional, where like you really should research, shaman, medicine team. You know, you prep your body, you prep your mind before. You really want to take those things seriously.
Know what you're searching for.
Yeah, exactly. And you can have a bad trip. Like, so many people, they get mushrooms, they don't know where they come from, right? They take an amount that they're unaware of, right? And they don't pay attention to their set and setting, which is very common terms in the psychedelic realm. Set is like mindset. What's your mindset going into this? Right? Are you just trying to get fucked up and like enter a different dimension?
Again.
Or are you trying to actually expand your consciousness and self-awareness? And then setting is like, where are you actually doing it? Are you connecting with nature? Are you with people that make you feel safe and comfortable? Or are you gonna fucking do it with people that are just gonna make you more anxious, that don't really respect you? Like, so that can lead to a bad trip. So microdosing, what I'm going to give you guys after this, and we'll talk about it, this is the formula I created that I use with my students. Bro, this formula is insane. We've been using the same thing for 3 years. I concocted this formula after a lot of research, because I work with a lot of athletes and high performers. And you want to be able to take this and still be able to work and be with your loved ones.
Absolutely.
At an elevated level.
Yeah.
And that's what's powerful. So
that right there is a microdose.
So yes. So like a macro dose where you go to a different realm, let's say is 3 grams, for instance. A microdose is 1/10 of that. So you're not going to have visions. You're not going to see any shit.
You're just going to feel different, like more like on a, you correct me if I'm wrong, like a more like,
we got to get this dude on a microdose for sure. I'm going to trust you to get him on that. No, but I got you too. No, but like, it's a sub-perceptual experience, which means that you're not tripping, but some of your senses might be heightened. For example, when I take this, bro, and this is what's so powerful. So antidepressants, Adderall, what happens after a couple months of taking those?
People get depressed.
You need to bump up the dose.
You need to bump up the dose. Exactly.
It's not doing the same purpose.
I've taken the same exact dose for 3 years. Still hits me the same. What's another side effect of those things?
The crash.
The crash, the come down, and they're highly addictive. Highly addictive. Your nervous system and brain is like expecting this stimulus. When it's no longer getting it, you have withdrawals, you have all these bad things. With antidepressants, sexual dysfunction, sleep disturbances, emotional numbness, I mean, these are very common. So none of that with this. This is 250 milligrams of psilocybin, a very special blend. 400 milligrams of lion's mane mushrooms, which is used in Chinese medicine to prevent things like dementia and Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Really powerful for just overall brain health and function. 400 milligrams of cordyceps, which increases your oxygen utilization, your lungs' ability to use oxygen effectively. Great for athletes. I have 2 Olympians I work with. They've seen crazy benefits with this. And then a little bit of beetroot powder for generating blood flow. So, dude, this is beautiful. We never take it 2 days in a row. My specific protocol in my mastermind with my students, we have a 6-week mastermind where you get mentorship with me and we implement all the other healthy practices. And we implement this 3 days a week, and I provide the medicine for them.
Wow.
It's really powerful. So if anyone actually wants to learn more, they can DM me the word mastermind on Instagram at Coach Jeremy 305.
Yes. Yeah.
And we'll send them over more info. We do free educational live workshops and stuff like that so you can learn more. But it's just powerful, man, because this is what I tell people. When you see a higher version of yourself, right, you can't unsee that person. So that version of yourself that used to come home every night from work and have a couple drinks to relieve yourself, or you used to smoke a couple cigarettes whenever you were feeling anxious, or you got angry and upset with your partner anytime she asked you to help out or do a favor, right? All these patterns and habits that aren't aligned with your highest self, now you're aware of them, bro, because now you see yourself in this higher way. And then you see some of the shit that you be doing in the past. You're like, dog, that ain't me. That ain't me. Like I'm committed to being better. I'm not going to go back to resorting to those inferior ways of being, because I'm a much better person than that. I'm a much higher version of myself, and I'm not going to allow myself to settle for mediocrity anymore. So that's what this shit allows you to open up.
Wow.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. One more thing, I think, and you can add before we close this podcast. Obviously you like to travel a lot. Are you doing this right here, your mentorship, all this? Is this full-time? Is this what allowing you to be where you're at today? How do you go about doing what you do and being free? How does that work for you?
Yeah, man, it's taken time. But, for me, the microdosing mastermind is definitely a significant part of our financial system, our abundance. Yeah. Because that is a more intricate, intimate experience with me. So that's one part of it. I have my lower ticket stuff if people just want to get their feet wet with a little nutrition, right? We have that. We have my monthly membership, which is like a VIP community. I'm not somebody, I personally haven't focused on brand deals that much. I like to really be in control of the narrative. So I don't want my income to be dependent on another company's business, right? Don't get me wrong. There's other products and supplements and companies that I fuck with and I like, and I'll do something if it's aligned, but I'm not the type of person that's every third or fourth post is a sponsored post for $1,000. First of all, that's fucking annoying if you're following someone like that and it's like every other post they're sponsoring a new thing. I'm all about authenticity. And I think that's why people fuck with me is like, bro, if you look at my Instagram, probably I haven't done a sponsored post in 2022.
Yeah, I would.
Like people have to,
yeah.
if people want to work with me, they have to be like the highest quality shit, the highest quality products, and they have to be able to like meet my needs when it comes to like the financial agreement. I don't like doing short-term things. It's got to be a long-term vision.
Right.
Right. But right now, man, I'm just focused on really helping people transform their health, their happiness with with my coaching, with my consulting. The NFT project is going to be massive, and that's going to allow us to create more impact as well with the veterans too. So that's really where the focus is now. And yeah, bro. I mean,
Why VCon? What got you to VCon? Is this Gary? And did you buy V1? Did you get V2?
So I missed out on V1. Definitely a regret. I have 6 Series 2.
Nice.
And I continue every week. I've really been the floor. Anytime I see the floor is low, like I got a perspective pigeon.
Nice.
He talks about perspective all the time. And it was like 0.7 ETH.
Oh, still.
And I'm like, dude, 2-3 years down the road, these are all going to be 1+ ETH, and ETH is low right now.
Yeah.
So for me, man, for sure, Gary, huge fan, huge supporter, and really just putting myself in the space of that energy.
Right.
You know, because as you guys know, proximity is power. So one of the things, I don't know where you guys stand on this, but like, I'm pretty sure, how many people were there? 10, 12,000 people, let's say. Pretty sure 75% of them waited hours in lines to take selfies with Gary.
Yeah.
You know, I saw you guys today or yesterday, and like Gary was just walking and like he was like in our vicinity. For me, I'm at a point in my life where like I have so much respect for Gary, but I'm also not trying to just take a selfie with the guy.
Yeah.
That's what we said.
Because I know, and it happened last night, my fucking manifestation, where I was like, bro, like I would love to just, you know, even if it's 30 seconds, like have that. But like that environment is not where I want to have our first interaction. And then later that night, I fucking meet the dude who runs Vayner NFT. And he had been following my page. And I showed him the shit that we're doing for the project. And he's like, bro, let's fucking have a meeting next week.
Yes.
Love it.
I love it. I think this conference made me more motivated than ever. And it's to do the same thing, to meet all these people on a personal level. Like I saw Logan and I'm like, I want to meet him on a personal level, to kind of be a sponge and maybe be on his podcast or vice versa. Same with Gary Vee, same with Snoop. And I'm going to let my content speak. I'm going to let my consistency and long game speak to the point where Gary Vee's, maybe my clip of the podcast or whatever it is, shows up on his page and he's like, I like this guy. He's winning. Because I noticed that with Gary Vee. He's always watching. He's always aware of those creators. I mean, you talk about the impersonator, the I think the best one, which is the bigger guy. I forgot his name, but he's a fucking GOAT imitating him. But did it right, you know, did content, got noticed. Hey, come to the VCon. You're going to open the show with me. The other impersonator, let's go. You're going to open the show with me. It's all by creating content and being true to yourself and playing the long game. And that's what I see.
Playing
the long game. It's going to happen at its
let
time.
the universe work, man. Let it work. But you got to stay knocking on doors. You got to stay
You got to stay.
consistent.
Exactly.
And the patient pig he talks about. And yeah, just let it work. Let it all flow.
Yes, sir. So, Jeremy, before we close this podcast, is there anything you want to tell, anything you want to say, message?
Well, first of all, man, I want to say I appreciate that we got to do this.
Dude,
Hell
for sure.
yeah,
Like
bro.
y'all are homies, and I'm excited to kind of follow along your journey and see the trajectory and be a part of it and support you guys. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, and I would just, who's ever listening or watching, just really do your best to challenge the stories that you're currently telling yourself. One of the biggest things that I was able to do that allowed me to get in a place where I'm at now is I started challenging the stories that I was operating and living by. For example, for most of my life, I never spoke up. I sat in the back of every single class. I didn't think my voice mattered. When I was a young kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, every single time, you know, I got in trouble talking in class, right? My dad would come home from work and he would make me write hundreds of sentences. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class, right? So subconsciously, I told myself this story that my voice didn't matter. So middle school, high school, college, bro, I literally didn't speak up for myself. Like, if I wanted to talk to a girl, like I would have to be drunk to do that. Feel me? And I feel like so many people are operating from these stories like I was from their childhood that isn't fucking true. You know, whether it's like your parents got divorced when you were younger, so you told yourself this story that, you know, you're the reason for their breakup, or that all love or all marriages end in disappointment and failure, or whatever that story is. Challenge that fucking story. I think this medicine that we talked about today, microdosing, can be a very valuable tool to help rewrite some of those stories and become aware of some of the stories, right? So, you know, just remember that the most powerful thing this medicine does is it tells you that you're the actual medicine that you've been searching for. We're constantly searching for things outside of ourselves, whether it's, you know, social media validation, whether it's validation from other people, whether it's escaping ourselves with porn addiction or food or alcohol or drugs, because we're lacking that love within ourselves. And once you're able to really tap into that and realize that everything you're searching for is actually within.
I always talk about finding, when you don't have meaningful purpose, you search for pleasure, and pleasures can go down a bad hole. Women, sex, porn, whatever, drugs. But meaningful purpose, and through this, I can already see that it brings you within, answers more questions, and it's like, hopefully you find that meaningful purpose, and maybe that's a tool to that. So, cool.
Facts.
Cool.
I like that. So, purpose over pleasure, over instant gratification. And yeah, just do something every single morning to fill up your own cup, to give yourself a little bit more love, whether that's going for a walk outside, whether it's doing a little stretch, whether it's listening to your favorite song, taking a cold shower, you know, doing something to fuel yourself in a positive way, I think will just give you some momentum for the rest of the day. Hit me up on Instagram at Coach Jeremy 305.
Yes,
Shoot
sir.
me a DM with the word mastermind, and keep following these fucking legends.
Thank you, bro.
Let's go.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm so
This is
glad
great.
that the universe brought us here, and we were able to make this podcast happen without even planning on it. It was just let the universe do its thing, and it did. So appreciate you for, you know, doing this interview with us, this conversation. And yeah, man, everybody stay true to yourself. I think that's the message.
And stay curious,
Yes.
man. There's 68 million active crypto wallets right now. There's 7.7 billion people in the world. They were talking about us being early. When you talk about microdosing and that kind of stuff, all these tools can be tools to your lives. Stay curious.
Stay curious. Love it. So we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe. Let's get it.
Peace.